Hi folks, it's Andy and welcome to this week's Kendo rant. I've got loads of questions for you today, which is fantastic. And just before I jump into them, you know to like, share, subscribe, all that sort of social stuff. I don't need to be saying that again, right? But you can join the Kendo Show Early Access group. That's where most of these questions are from. There's a link in the description down below. That's a great group to be involved in. It's a great place not only to post questions that I'll answer on here, but it's where I upload the Kendo instructional videos, stuff like 0 to Shodan and those sort of things, before I put them anywhere else. Also, during this lockdown period, I've been doing sort of impromptu live stream videos where we sit and watch some Kendo together and enjoy some Mitori Geiko together. So yeah, get in that group. Also, finally, if you do like the videos I've been putting out, and I've been putting out a lot recently, and you know, they do bring you any value whatsoever, don't forget to do your shopping at KendoStar.com. That's my website, of course. It's fantastic, wonderful Kendo equipment, but you don't have to take my word for it. Check out our reviews, even with the independent reviews aggregate Trustpilot with the best rated online. So yeah, we're really brilliant. So get to KendoStar.com and shop there. Right, first one. What's your favourite samurai movie? Have samurai films ever affected or helped your Kendo? I wouldn't say there's any samurai films that have really affected or helped my Kendo, but I like Seven Samurai. I think that's a great film. I like The Last Samurai, and what else do I like? I like samurai films. You know, if they've got a samurai in it, I generally like it. But I don't actually watch many films these days. I just don't have time for it. But what's the other one that I quite like? There's a Japanese one that's based off like a manga or something called Dororo. I used to like that. But yeah, cool. Okay, next one. Hi, Andy. This might probably be a philosophical question or something. But when we enter the dojo, what should be our state of mind? Should we enter the dojo with a clear mind, or a mind that looks forward to what we'll be learning, or a mind that's full of spirit, eager to do whatever sensei tells us? Throughout my time doing Kendo, I've noticed different people come to do Kendo for a variety of reasons. Getting over an ex, stress, worries about exams, etc. What do you think? Well, I don't think you should come to Kendo to try and get over an ex. I don't think that's going to help you so much, but it might help your state of mind in general if you're going through something difficult like that. It's certainly been, Kendo training is something that's helped me get through difficult times in my life at various stages. But in terms of the state of mind is when you come to the dojo, you're best to try and be as open and willing as possible. Try to be prepared, ready for the practice, and come into it with a frame of mind looking to improve yourself and overcome the things that you're struggling with. I think that's the best mindset to approach the dojo with. Don't go there trying to think, oh, today I'm really going to beat up this guy, or I'm really gonna, or I'm gonna hit some really good kaishidos or something like that. That's not really the way to look at it. The best is to see if you can challenge yourself and overcome the things that you're finding difficult. Next one. As a zero, not even beginner, is it okay to watch and train to videos before I join a dojo? Well, look, at the moment there's not much choice because obviously everything's in lockdown. We don't have dojos to go to, but yeah, definitely I think it's worth watching videos. Be a little bit careful following along to them, but you can do some of the basic stuff. The early episode, well, basically the episodes that I put out for Kendo 0 to Shodan, there's no problem with you watching and following along with those, and you'll be sort of a bit more prepared then when you get ready to go to the dojo. And definitely watch some Kendo tournament videos and stuff like that. Don't copy any of that, but it'll just get you an idea as to what Kendo looks like when it's done by experts. So I think it'll give you an idea of what we're sort of aiming towards. Next one. You've been fortunate enough to make a full-time living from Kendo. Fortunate, I don't know if it's fortunate. It is really. What are some ways people can make a career out of Budo? Well, yeah, I mean, obviously I'm quite unique in that I've really worked hard to carve myself a unique career path that's not really something that many people have managed to do. I know there's lots of foreign people that have gone to Japan to try and work at a Kendo company or Borga company like I did in the first place, but it hasn't really worked out in the same way that it has for me. But then that's just how it goes, I guess. Part of that's luck, and part of that is obviously my own hard work and determination to build something from zero. Other ways to make a career out of Budo, I don't really know, to be honest, because at the minute the whole culture is quite averse to making money from teaching Budo, which I'm not sure I totally agree with. I think it should be a legitimate consideration that people shouldn't be frowned upon for receiving remuneration for passing on their skills like in any other field. You know, if I was to ask a piano teacher or a different sports teacher, there's plenty of those that you know, make a career out of teaching those things, and there are places where that happens, but for some reason it's sort of frowned upon. But I don't know why. You know, it happens in Japan. There's people that get paid to teach Kendo, even if they, you know, are technically police officers or whatever, or work at schools. Actually, they're receiving a salary to teach Kendo to people. So I'm not totally averse to that idea, which for some reason seems to be the popular thing. But until that changes, I don't know. I think it might be quite difficult. Or be really super amazing, really impress me, and maybe I'll give you a job. Next one. One of the last Kendo rants, you clearly showed us how to store and shape the men tare. What about the tare? I saw in a few videos when you introduce a new tare, you roll the exterior corner of the two odare. Can you show us how to shape your own equipment? How you shape your own equipment? Yeah. So the men tare look really nice if they're shaped this way. As I've said before, you want to have this sort of look of Mount Fuji like that, and they don't want to be sort of put down flat on your shoulders. They want to be kind of curled forward a little bit. That looks not too much. It looks ridiculous. It's too much, but a little bit curled forward this way. That looks really nice. And the same goes for the tare. If it's got like I like anyway, and you know, I think it's my, you know, maybe it might be my generation. I'm sure kids in Japan have a different sort of idea on it now, but the tare sort of should shape a little bit like that way, go down, and then I like it to flare up a little bit and sort of slightly go forward on the left and right odare, coming forward this way. Let me grab one so you can see. Oof. Okay, so like I say, this is my do and tare here. They're tied together. This is how I store them. So what I do is I like to have this shape, this curl here on my tare. I have it with the tare name, the zekken, facing towards the door. So this is the back of the tare here, and I fold them in this way, like that, so that when I'm wearing, they're sort of bent forward a little bit, because I think that looks cool. Okay, like that, and I just store it like that when I put it away, and that kind of makes the shape that I want. Okay, next question. Hi Andy, obviously in the UK we don't know when the lockdown will end, and when it does, the BK will then need to rearrange gradings. Do the BK allow non-participants to watch a grading? In the next year or two, I'd like to take Ikkyu and Shodan, but I would like the opportunity to observe a grading beforehand, just to get a feel for the standard required. I've always noticed visitors at my karate gradings. At my next grading, 5th Dan, which I'll take in Okinawa next year, I already know there'll be visitors from other Okinawan dojos watching. It's fine if you want to just turn up and watch. For the most, everything I've seen so far. I don't represent the BKA, by the way. I'm a member of the BKA, the British Kendo Association, and I am a national coach in the British Kendo Association, but I don't speak for the BKA, and I'm not part of the kind of top committee or anything that makes decisions on its behalf. But I do understand I'm sort of a prominent teacher in the BKA to some extent. So I mean, I think it's fine for you to turn up and watch, get a feel for what happens and what sort of level it is. If it's Ikkyu and Shodan, you just need to be able to do hits with Fumikomi, and you should be alright. Next one. What's a memorable Shiai you've had you'd like to share with us? Bonus points if it's on video. There's lots of memorable Shiai I've had. First Shiai in the World Championships. My first ever one of those. That was quite memorable. I lost, of course. We were in the teams versus in the pools versus USA. Was our first match. I was Senpo, so I was the first player. And got a much stronger player than me. I lost, but of course I remember that. I remember in the semi-finals of the European Championships, I remember losing that. I remember the ones I lose more than the ones I remember that I win, to be honest. That was quite a big one. I remember losing in the final of a shiai in Oita Prefecture. That was in Japan a few years back. It was really irritating one, actually. That was quite a memorable one. Because I'll never forget that, because it was quite a large shiai, actually, and it was all ippon shobu. It wasn't sanbon shobu, so it's got ippon, you win. And I was just playing really well that day. I beat several people who were clearly more skilled than me, but once you get ippon, you win. So I think a combination of them underestimating me because I was a foreigner, and also, you know, I was just playing well. I'd managed to get all the way up to the final, and then I started the final, and I got a feel for my opponent, and I felt like I could win. I remember hitting a quite solid hikimen. It felt good to me, but I was too near the edge of the shiaijo, so I wasn't given the ippon, and I ended up going out of the shiaijo and receiving the hansoku. And then restarting the match, getting close to Tsubazeri. I was taking my time, got to Tsubazeri, and my opponent, who's somewhat bigger than me, did the strong shinai, he hit my shinai very hard. I did the shinai otoshi, I dropped the shinai for the second hansoku, which meant he won. So I lost in the final to hansoku make. Okay, next one. How are you supposed to pack the whole burger in the backpack? I bought a wonderful burger from a very cool place called KendoStar.com. You should have a look. So I would like to know how to fit my super nice Vanguard burger set in my awesome Busho original Elite Kendo backpack. Okay, let me get all this stuff. Oof, okay, here we are. So I've got my do and tare from before. As you can see, I've tied them up here like this. So I've used the long himo like that to tie the tare to the door like that, and use the short ones on the door to tie around the side in that way. Let me just pop that down there for a second. And then I've got my men here like that with my kote inside. Okay, that's how the kote should go inside the men, like that, showing the Kendall Star logo. Like that, okay? And I've got my backpack here. Okay? So, the way you want to do this is open it up so you've got your space there, and the first thing we're going to take is the door and the tare, okay, and that's going to go in there like that way, like that, okay, like there, okay, so it's in like that. Okay, this is the top of the bag here. It folds over like that, okay. Then we're going to take the men and the kote, and they're going to go inside there. Okay, I need the table to do this in a second. Okay, they're going to go inside. You'll see this in a sec. Like that. Okay, so the men and the kote go in there. The men that are just curved around like that. And all fits in nicely. I can close the bag and I can zip around there, and it's all done. Okay, easy peasy. Okay, next one. It says, in the yokomen part of kirikaishi, when raising the shinai, should it raise straight? I often see high-level Japanese doing circular motion when raising, and I've been taught to raise straight. I'm confused. Okay, so when you do kirikaishi, so first start chudan, yeah, step in to cutting distance, okay? Then raise straight and make straight shomenuchi with fumikomi, right? The first strike is straight men, okay? Straight. That way, okay? Then sometimes tai atari, usually tai atari this way. Then first one, raise straight, men, this side, okay? To the left side of their men, okay? But after this first one, it goes back the way it came, round, onto the other side. Back the way it came, onto the other side. It doesn't go men, straight, this way. This way, back the way it came, this way, this way, okay? So it goes back the way it came, around to the other side, and down on the other side again, okay? So it doesn't go diagonal, straight, that's not correct, okay? this way, this way. Okay, you have to use your wrist flexibility. That's part of what you're building up by practicing kirikaishi. Okay, next one. Why aren't Kendall Star burgers as colourful as those by the competition? Speaking of the colourful tsuki and do upper half. So you mean like this sort of thing? Okay, so that's like embroidery that goes on the dobune and the ago. Okay, we can definitely do that. If that's something you want, we can definitely do it. It's not a problem at all. We just haven't added those options to the website simply because actually they're just not popular anymore. It's been like probably 20 years or so or more really that those designs have been popular in Japan. So in Japan they're sort of considered a bit old-fashioned or a bit outdated. So they're just generally not a popular design anymore. Okay, I might add them at some point to the lineup, but I don't really want. Kendo Star as a brand is starting to get a reputation in Japan as well, which I think is great, because originally of course it's a brand that's been designed to serve the international community, but the more and more Japanese people that see it are loving it, so probably before long it might be something that we start to market more in Japan as well, and I don't really want it to be, I don't want it to look old-fashioned. But if you want it, we can do it. Next one, if you could get better at any one kaishiwaza, what would it be? Kote kaishi kote, because it's super hard, and Miyazaki Masahiro makes it look amazing. As a Nito player, if an opponent disarms my shoto, but at the same time I manage to land a good men strike with my daito, complete with zanshin and all, which would you consider awarding? Ippon or hansoku? So dropping the shinai, of course, is hansoku, but for me it's the same as if somebody falls over, or if somebody well, same with the normal shinai actually. If you, well, actually it's a bit different, but say if I did the strong harai and hit the shinai and they dropped it and then I hit men, that could be considered men. So it depends on the actual context of the situation and how it plays out in real life, in real time. But in theory, if that men was if you're, did you say men? If your strike, even if you lose the shoto, then that men can certainly be considered ippon in that situation as well. Hi Andy, hope you and your family are well, thank you very much. My question is, we're always told the importance of good kata and correct form, which is then transformed into Shinai Kendo, into our Shinai Kendo, which I totally agree with. So would it be a good idea to have more kata seminars and more kata taikai? Yeah, maybe. Look, kata does affect your Shinai Kendo, but more so probably from 5th dan and above, which most people aren't at yet. Below 5th dan, it doesn't affect, it doesn't link quite the same. Well, it does, but it doesn't link quite as obvious. You don't need to worry about it as much, let's put it that way. You need to learn the kata, but it's not as important as it's not going to connect to the physical Shinai Kendo as much as it is until probably later on. And I wouldn't even say like freshly stamped 5th dan is going to say that either. I mean, it's like getting towards 6th dan really. It's something I'm only really starting to think about since I've got my 6th dan, is like how kata really applies to Shinai Kendo. And having said that, there's lots of other ways that are better at training your Shinai Kendo than kata practice. That doesn't mean kata's not important and we shouldn't do it, but to say that you know, kata exists to improve our Shinai Kendo, certainly at the like below, I'd say below the kodansha level. I don't think that's really correct. But yeah, I'm not against having kata taikais and stuff, but or seminars even, if people would attend them. But you're not gonna you're not gonna do like loads of kata seminars and then suddenly be good at shiai. Okay, next one. Recently I've injured my Achilles tendon because of kendo and I'm a bit worried. I have a doctor's appointment, but I also want to correct any mistakes in my kamae that might have caused the issue. I think I'm keeping my left heel too tense. Is it supposed to be always tense, or should it be relaxed and then only tense when taking a step forward and performing fumikomi? So actually it should be tense pretty much all the time when you're in kamae. So if that's causing you problems, you need to speak to your doctor. I can't give you any medical advice, but you know, it's something that needs to be healed before you put too much pressure on it. And yeah, if like maybe switching stances, doing Jordan, something like that helps, maybe that would be a better option. Can you talk about Gyaku-Do Ippon? So a video, I don't remember now, where Sensei is talking about Gyaku-Do being Ippon only if the opponent raises their arms in a defensive position, like the Sampo Mamori, for example. If the opponent doesn't assume a defensive posture with his arm raised, it wouldn't be a legitimate opportunity for Gyaku-Do. But the question remains, what about Nuki Gyaku-Do? I've seen several videos of championships where the Ippon was considered, and and in this case, it's not an opponent's defensive stance. All right. Okay. Here's the thing about the criteria review called Gyaku-Do. It's not that black and white. All right. To hit Gyaku-Do, to hit any Ippon, opportunity, kikai, is one of the key elements as to what counts towards whether it's valid or not. That means if someone's in kamae and the kamae hasn't broken, even though I can get my shinai to touch their kote or even their do underneath their elbow, if I hit them, it doesn't count because I haven't made the opportunity. Yeah, I just tried to get around their kamae somehow. And Gyaku-Do is the same. All Ippon are the same. So, look, for Gyaku-Do as a shikakewaza, yeah, where you are applying seme and then making an attack, in general, 99.9% of the time, it will only be considered valid if the opponent raises their arms and fully exposes the Gyaku-Do, this side of the door, yeah? And their feet are stopped moving, yeah? They're generally the key opportunities that we look for scoring that kind of point. Men nuki Gyaku-Do is a different waza. That's an oji waza. Gyaku-Do is an oji waza. To strike Gyaku-Do or even Kaishi-Do, as an opponent is attacking men with full spirit and trying to hit your men as fast as they can, to hit Gyaku-Do in that instant takes an immense amount of skill. It's very, very difficult. So if you can execute that waza, of course they're not going to be like this. They're trying to hit your men, but still their arms are raised, right? This is still an opportunity, all right, for Gyaku-Do. Okay, so it's still a valid opportunity. Okay, next one. Is there a 3-month rule to Kendo? If you haven't seen a Kendoka in 3 months, then they quit Kendo. Nah, I think that's a little bit too harsh, especially the way the world is right now. That means lots of people have quit Kendo. Next one. I've asked a lot of sensei this question over the years to help gain a better comprehension of the topic. When developing seme, many people speak, teach and practice a lot of physical seme with ease. However, we also learn about mental seme being very effective, sometimes even more important than physical seme. What is your personal approach to teaching, practicing, developing mental seme? You can't teach it, funnily enough. It's weird to say. You can encourage students to think about it and try to develop it, but that kind of seme comes from confidence in your ability and in your kamae, which comes from a genuine confidence, not like fake confidence that you're just putting on, which only comes from hard training and from years of experience. So that kind of seme, it's not something you're taught, it's something you develop over years of rigid practice and training. So yeah, that's my take on that. Next one, do you have any suggestions or precautionary measures that can be put in place at the dojo when classes resume? To be honest, I think the only thing we can do when we get back to the dojo finally, make sure that we've definitely stretched, fully warm up. All right, definitely stretch your legs and your Achilles as well, yeah? Don't want any Achilles snaps, yeah? And make sure you fully warm up. Spend plenty of time warming up and take it slowly, getting in the first couple of classes. Don't jump into doing ridiculous menus because you're keen to get back into training. Go slowly and ramp it up over a few weeks, I think is the best thing. Next, now we're far from the dojo. Kendo is life is helping me keep focus. Why did you choose this sentence for Kendall Star? So Kendo is life is the Kendall Star motto, and it's how it's the kind of philosophy really of Kendall Star as a business. I set up Kendall Star to help people, all right? Of course, it's a business that generates profit in order to exist, in order for me to support my family. That's true, but and our employees and their family, of course. But the core of it isn't just to make profits. It's to help people around the world enjoy Kendo by being able to access equipment that allows them to do that, and that's been designed with their needs in mind. And that way, through enjoying Kendo, they can enjoy all of the benefits that Kendo brings to their life, all the things that I have benefited from. For example, go and watch the documentary we've got on YouTube, like the Kendall Star documentary. It might even be called Kendo's Life or something like that, but I've got a little documentary on our channel that's basically, it's an introduction to me and my business and my sort of thoughts on it, and I talk a little bit about that in that. It's definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen it. Okay, we're nearly there. Last two. When you do Shimpan, do you treat the match like it's an actual duel of swords? For example, red hits Kote and almost gets Ippon. And after that Kote hit, white hits and men Ippon with that's Yuko Datotsu. Will you score the men strike or treat it like the men strike's not possible in an actual fight? If it was a bit stronger, I might consider it. So I guess you're saying, like, if one person hits Kote, it's almost good enough, but it hit the Kote, but not good enough for Ippon, does that negate the men from the other person? Because, like, they wouldn't be able to hit men if they had the hand missing, if it was a real duel. No, you don't consider that at all. Kendo is not sword fighting, it's not dueling with real swords, that's not what we're learning to do. You evaluate each strike according to the criteria of Yuko Datotsu. That situation you're talking about happens an awful lot. The Kote is not good enough, and what follows afterwards is a fantastic men strike. You watch some of the Shiai from Takenouchi Yuya. He's a good exponent of that. When an opponent tries to do Kote, doesn't quite make a good enough one, bam, he retaliates with a perfect men strike. So yeah, Kendo is not supposed to be judged like that. Okay, last one. Hi Andy, I just watched this video posted by Kensh247. Fantastic website. It's pre-World War II Kendo and shows one-handed Sayu men strikes around the 1 minute mark. Is that valid today? So what you're talking about is katate hanmen, where they kind of let go on one hand and hit this way. It's valid in today's Kendo, and sometimes you see people do it. Not so often, but you certainly do. Of course, it's valid from Jordan, but it is valid from Chudan as well. Super hard waza to do. And you've got to remember that Kendo is practiced today in a very different context to that video from pre-World War II. So even if you were to use that waza, you shouldn't use it in the way those guys are. I mean, they're really like doing this. You're going to hurt somebody doing that. I mean, those guys are really going at it. It's quite detached from what modern Kendo is. It's a bit of a mess, to be honest, if you look at it from a modern Kendo viewpoint. But it's an important part of where Kendo came from, but that isn't the stage that we're at now, and it isn't something you want to emulate, all right? So don't watch that video and go and do what those guys are doing, whatever you do, because it's not what Kendo is anymore. Okay, that's it. That was loads of questions. That was great. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, join the Kendo Show early access group, and most importantly, you know it's coming, shop at Kendall Star. Thanks for watching, see you all next time.